Now, Big Sis is expanding her See Something, Say Something Snitch program. It's not just these drills to demonize constitutionalists and gun owners as potential terrorists. It's also to create the culture that will silence the Second Amendment, make it seem spooky and maybe kind of against the law, and that if you see someone with a gun, you should go ahead and call in and report them. That's already been going on, of course, with these various tip lines, especially in schools and federal government buildings. But now it's expanding even more, a fresh approach after these executive orders. The head of Homeland Security, the Attorney General, the Justice Department, the FBI have all been tasked by Obama to piecemeal destroy the Second Amendment. And one way they're doing that is not only spreading their propaganda, but encouraging the snitch culture. And how outrageous is it that they're using Obamacare, which we were told was constitutional, even though it's blatantly unconstitutional. How outrageous is it that they're going to use Obamacare to infringe on the Second Amendment, asking doctors to spy on their patients, to ask about guns, and to profile people who maybe have mental problems so that they can be disbarred. Probably a lot of people who don't have mental problems, by the way. It's called a chilling effect. It always happens in tyranny. That's going on. It's on the heels of IRS bills to go door to door and collect firearms and get the public to really go along with the idea of voluntarily turning in their self-defense mechanisms. In furtherance of this gun control debate, an alderman has suggested requiring GPS devices on all guns. This report comes out of CBS Chicago, where a Southside alderman's asking the city council for an unorthodox gun measure to allow for GPS tracking of firearms. Yes, it would be expensive, he admits, to retrofit all guns with GPS devices, but then they could track lost and stolen guns. And wouldn't that be so wonderful for the children? Of course, they're already supposedly disarmed in Chicago, which is the murder capital of the world. And of course, it's all just about control. I would like you to flash back to a 2004-2005 issue that came out. It was reported widely in the media. It's here in USA Today from the Associated Press about how they wanted smart guns implanted with microchips that would allow police officers to be the only ones who could fire their guns, their weapons. It would require those officers to have an implanted RFID chip in their hand, what many people consider to be the mark of the beast, and it has to match up with the weapon. Not only is this creepy Big Brother surveillance technology, not only would it enable the system to disbar anyone through a digital database without due process and literally physically shut off their ability to use firearms if they got them retrofitted on the weapons, but it is also just a bad idea on the technology itself. At the time, you had law enforcement authorities decrying the fact that the scanning devices could malfunction. The officer's hand with the computer chip could be smashed during a fight. An officer could need to use a partner's gun, and on and on. There could be power outages, computer crashes. The technology doesn't even make sense. It could actually put the police officers' lives in jeopardy. But as we all know, even though they may have, for the time being, pushed off RFID microchips, even though this report only supposedly deals with police officers, we know everything's incremental. GPS tracking, RFID tracking for the children, for prisoners, for the elderly. They're going to try to push for this kind of stuff with all gun owners as part of their big registration push. And we've already seen in Obama's 23 executive orders how the Attorney General is asked to survey and give a report on new gun safety technology. And while we may be waiting to see what the details of that gun safety review and investigation amounts to, I can tell you right now that proposals like GPS devices on guns, or even the extreme RFID devices to create smart guns that can only be accessed by their lawful registered gun owners, will be considered and are likely to show up in that report, along with all the other things they've been creating. It's just part of disarming America. They could piecemeal this. Everybody sees it for what it is. It's a blatant violation of our rights under the Constitution as just living beings in this world. Even animals have self-defense.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.